Today's video is about the Pelican Air 1535. I got this a couple months back just to kind of put my camera gear inside, but as it turns out, it has come in pretty handy during my move. I'm currently in this moving state, that's why I'm in this, I would say this is my closet supposedly. So yeah, this is the less kind of echoey room that I could find to shoot videos. Everywhere else kind of like super echoey. So this is the least amount of echoiness. But yeah, let me go ahead and jump into this case here to show you what's inside. So everything inside here is camera gear that is, I would say, essential for me to shoot videos like this impromptu, minus the tripod. Only the tripod can't fit inside, but everything else fits in this case here. So first things first, I have this case here. This holds my monitor. So this is my HDMI monitor here. So generally speaking, I only use this for when I'm shooting B-roll in a sense, when I need to have that extra reach or see things in bigger picture compared to the flippy out screen that I have on my cameras. So this is a Portkey P6. This is a 5.5-inch monitor. And next up, I have this case, which I have an ND filter. So an ND filter is basically a neutral density filter. So this basically makes shooting higher shutter speeds outdoors possible. If not, everything will be blown out. Basically, everything will be super bright. And next up, I have this rocket blower, as they call it. This basically, whenever I'm switching lenses and I see any dust on a sensor, I'm basically just able to blow the dust away. Pretty handy to have. And speaking of cleaning, I also have this set of this random microfiber cloths here. It's always handy to have these, especially when I'm working in tech. Cleaning lenses, cleaning screens, or cleaning anything in between this bag in here. And next up is my B cam. So this is my previous A cam. Right now I'm shooting on the Sony A7 IV, which also sits here. I'll talk about that in a bit. But this is the Panasonic Lumix G9 with the Sigma 1835 Canon mount and with the Viltrox EF2 Micro Four Thirds adapter. I still carry this around mainly for backup and also for some situations where I'm shooting outside, out and about. Having a second camera angle usually makes things more interesting. So I have this here all loaded up. The battery is all charged. I have SD cards on that, so if I ever run into any issues with this camera here, this A cam, I can always switch to this. Next is the SD card case. So I have a bunch of additional SD cards here. So generally speaking, I don't end up using up my SD cards. Like I have a 256GB card on this Sony A7 IV here, which is plenty. I can shoot up to 3 hours of footage, which is a lot. So yeah, but just in case, I always have backup. So I think the name of the game in terms of video production, or my kind of mindset is always having backups, because things will happen, especially when I'm out about. Like when I was shooting for Food Stories episode 1 a while back, I definitely used some backup lighting, so I was running out of memory. Good thing I had this here, because you never know what will happen when you're out in the field shooting. So yeah, this is a form of backup, called insurance, if you say. And next up, I have two things here. One of it is this lens pen. So this is basically like a nice brush. All right, next up is this SmallRig multi-tool here. Generally speaking, I don't really need to use this. I don't have anything that require the bits in a sense there, or any kind of screwdriver bits, but a flathead usually is pretty convenient, not just for screwing in things, but maybe I want to pry things out, or maybe something stuck, I'll be able to use this. But as mentioned, always good to have these in handy, especially if it's pretty small. I have a battery bank here. It's always handy to have external power and also cables. I have a USB-C to USB-C here and a USB-A to USB-C here. So especially most of my equipment here, or anything that's running off of power here, generally speaking, can charge through a USB power bank. So if I do end up depleting the battery, which I have in the past, I'll be able to plug this in directly to quickly charge on things. And next up, this is the first of the two pouches that I have in this bag. So this pouch is from Tentacle Sync. I'll talk more about Tentacle Sync in a bit. But this is basically my lavalier pouch. So I have a backup lavalier, the Tascam here. Right now I am using a lavalier mic pack here. I have the Tentacle Sync Track E right now with a DDW Lav Pro lav microphone concealed under my shirt here. So that's where the audio is coming in. So that's one side is basically the recorders, and the other side here, this bag is pretty handy to have. is all the accessories that I use to lab up. So for example, in this case, I basically have all of the Rycote covers here, basically help me conceal the lavalier microphone beneath my shirt here. So if I tap onto here, audio probably sounds bad, sorry about that. But my microphone is concealed underneath with this sticky pieces from Rycote. And if I'm outside, I also have some of these furry covers here that basically helps to protect against wind or like low rumbles. As mentioned, I do have a set of backup lavalier microphones. These are just nothing special, just the default microphones that come with the recorder. I don't really use that, but just in case my WLAV Pro breaks, I'll be able to have that as a backup. And I also have a backup pair of earphones. And then this is also some lavalier accessories here. So these batteries here I use for this external monitor here. One of these, the smaller one can last about 2 hours. This bigger one can last about 4 or 5 hours. So depending on how heavy I want the rig to be, I can use a smaller or bigger battery. All right, next up is the Aputure MC here. So this is an RGB light that can go to different colors here, as you can see. Yeah, it's always handy to have like a light like this. So especially when I'm shooting video in a sense that I can't just crank up the ISO. I can, but in the sense that I'll degrade the picture. So this usually adds a kick of light that I need for maybe a backlight, or maybe my face needs a bit more additional light. I can use that. Especially with this in particular, this is magnetic, so I'm actually able to stick it onto anywhere that is metal and basically have it off frame or maybe put it in a weird angle so that it'll shine light to whatever I'm trying to shoot. So pretty handy, and this, I really love this. This can last, on a charge, I would say about 2 hours given my use case. You can definitely get more or less depending on how intense you set the light onto. I usually set it to 50%, that's pretty much good enough for me. And next up I have this AA, AAA battery charger. To be honest, I don't really use this, but one thing about the Pelican case and this TrekPak dividers is that when you're packing this up, it's always good to pack it as tight as possible so that things don't move around when I'm actually carrying or rolling it around. So yeah, this was one of the things that kind of fit in that spot. All right, moving on to the back here, this is my battery case. So this is something that I use. I don't charge batteries, but I do have some spare batteries. So this is the Panasonic battery. I have a couple IKEA AA batteries here. I have some AAAs, and then I have the Sony battery here. So yeah, always handy to have extra batteries because you never know when batteries will want to die, or when you end up shooting too much and end up draining the battery too much. All right, the next compartment here is for the camera that I'm shooting on, the Sony A7 IV with the Sigma 24-70 f2.8. I have a stand-in right now, which is the Sound Devices Mix Pre 3 Mark II that I have here. So this is my portable audio recorder with XLR inputs. We've probably seen this in a previous video where I was talking about my audio equipment. In a sense, like, this does not have a permanent space in this bag, mainly because when I'm out and about, I tend to use the camera's microphone, or I plug in a kind of separate microphone onto the camera itself so I can record directly to the camera itself. So it's less of a hassle, or I end up using a lavalier microphone like I'm using right now. Because frankly speaking, setting this up is not that hard, but I'll need to have additional accessories like an XLR cable and also my NTG5 microphone. And also I need the microphone stand. So there's a lot of additional things I need to basically set up. So for only like larger projects, like when I was doing my documentary last fall, and also when I was doing the Moshi Fresh video a couple months back, that's when I actually brought this alongside. For the most part, long story short, I only keep this or use this whenever I'm at home. All right, moving on to the last section here. As I briefly mentioned here, this is the microphone that I usually plug on directly to my camera here. Since I'm using a lavalier microphone right now, I don't really need this. And this is the Rode VideoMic NTG. So this is a mini shotgun microphone that plugs into a 3.5mm jack directly into my camera. This is a pretty great microphone. Definitely want to hear more about this. I talked about that a couple videos back where I talked about my YouTube audio setup. This is one of the microphones that I mentioned there. And then let's see, what else do we have? Okay, this bag here. This is like what I call my timecode bag. So this has the Tentacle Sync timecode box here and additional accessories that it needs on the other side. So I have like a Y splitter here that splits between the audio and the timecode. But long story short, this is in case anyone that doesn't know timecode is basically, or this box is essentially a very precise clock that helps me synchronize my cameras and audio equipment together so that whenever I put it into my video editor, I'll be able to basically sync everything together easily. I'm not going to talk too much or delve too much into this timecode or this Tentacle Sync in this video, as I have an upcoming video where I'll be talking in depth about what is timecode and why I choose to use timecode in my kind of workflow here. But yeah, the last thing, okay, I have also this Rycode cover here. So this is they call it a Deadcat. Basically, this Deadcat goes over this microphone here. And what this does is that when I'm shooting outdoors, I'm able to capture better audio, so any kind of wind that's coming through gets filtered through this Deadcat here, so the audio is slightly less windy or slightly less breezy outside. And last but not least is this pair of Sony MDR-7506 headphones. So I use this basically to monitor audio. So it's just a 3.5mm jack here. I can plug in directly to my camera's audio output, or basically my Lavalier's audio output also. All right, that is all the camera gear that I have in my Pelican Air here. I think one thing I forgot to mention here is that I have this TrekPak dividers with my Pelican case here. So when you buy this case, you have multiple options in terms of how to insert it. By itself, Pelican does sell this bare bones without anything at all. So it's basically like a hard shell that isn't really suitable for camera gear or any kind of like fragile equipment. So one of the options that they have is this TrekPak dividers, which is basically this modular set of like grids that I'm able to basically cut and configure to my liking. So everything here is done custom through these anchors that basically plugs into this foam inserts. So I'm able to basically customize the layout of this case to my personal needs here. So in terms of how portable this luggage is, this is technically a luggage, but I think so since I've got this, this is my first time actually flying with it. So previously I was just using it as storage. But the experience of traveling with it was pretty fun. One thing that I did not like about, or I kind of felt that maybe it's just because of this design here, is the wheels. So the wheels are just two wheels that are back, so you got to back pedal or basically drag it as a roller bag, versus more modern luggages where they have four wheels where you can just swivel it around. So that's one thing I felt that was kind of a slight inconvenience, or it kind of like I end up tripping and then the bag goes on forward, because this bag is, I think so at this point it weighs 30 pounds, 35 pounds. Alright, before I end this video, I want to give you a quick tour around this Pelican Air. This case has two latches, and as mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier this video, this case is the perfect size for carry-ons. I think this is the maximum size that you can bring onto a plane. And there is foam on top, and there is also these two spots here that can accommodate locks here. So locks are not included in this. I bought this separate to basically kind of secure it. But since this is a carry-on luggage, technically speaking, like I'll always be with it, so I don't really actually need locks, but just for extra insurance, I would say. So there is a spot here to put my name and ID. I haven't really filled that out. I should have probably did that. And then there is a valve here to relieve pressure. And also one thing I forgot to mention here is that around the border of the case here, there is a rubber gasket here that helps protect everything inside against the elements. So any water, any kind of like dust, everything inside should be pretty well conditioned. And then on the side here, there is a handle. This is a pretty sturdy handle. And then on the top here, there is another handle, not as sturdy as that. And then on the back here, there's also this handle that basically allows me to drag it along. Okay, but yeah, that is it for this video, the Pelican Air 1535. I've been talking about the camera for like 30 minutes right now. I don't know how long this video is gonna end up being. That's what happens when I end up doing things off script. These kind of things, I tend to ramble, I tend to like talk a lot about things. Okay, I need to stop talking, but yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you found this video useful or handy. Let me know down in the comment section what you want to see next. And yeah, I'm excited. This is a new space, as you can see. I'm excited to shoot more videos here and also see how this space kind of evolves. based on my past experience of my previous apartment. I didn't kind of know how to set. It wasn't really set up for YouTube stuff, but right now since I'm coming into this empty space with shooting videos in mind, I'll probably be able to be more strategic on how I place things and how I have my lighting and all these different things, so to make it more inclusive. Alright, enough fun of games here. I actually spent about the past hour and a half to come up with this opening sequence and shoot it, and also just figure out the camera angles in this new apartment space here. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I don't know how this video is going to end, honestly. This video is totally unscripted, so I'm actually filming this intro sequence before I actually film what's in my bag here, so I totally don't know what I'm going to end up saying. But yeah, thanks for watching. Alright, I don't know why I'm thanking you for watching this video. I probably already said that when I was actually finishing up the what's in my bag, which is actually, yeah, that's what happens when you shoot in unscripted videos. I don't usually do that, so I end up talking a lot and making things longer and longer than it should be. Alright, I'm going to stop this video.